I have a suggestion, Mr. Naruhodo. Will you indulge me? Oh, well, what is it? As I explained to you when you arrived, the missing waxwork has been returned. And I personally reinstalled it in the exhibit from which it was taken, behind those thick curtains. Oh, yes, the Professor exhibit, isn't it? Can't be Trevor. Would you like to see it? For a mere 5 shillings. That's a special one-time only price, you understand? What? The opportunity won't come again, I might add. Would you like to see the fruits of my labor? Oh, well, we do have a rather pressing investigation to carry out. Perhaps we could postpone? The price is a very reasonable 5 shillings. I think you'll find it's well worth it. Are you being quite serious, Mr. Sholmes? Surely you need only look at my expression to ascertain if this is seriousness or silliness. I can never tell with you, that's the point. Very well. It couldn't hurt. Here's your 5 shillings. Gratefully received. So, the special exhibit waits behind the curtain. I invite you to peruse it at your leisure. What have we got? Because something tells me, like, this is what we're going to find behind there. Like, we're going to find him behind there. Well, the money's been spent, so let's go and see the special exhibit. Through those heavy curtains at last. Here we go. Wait, you're not just going to take me straight in there? Like, come on. Ruin the mood there. 5 shillings we've had to pay. It doesn't seem right somehow that Mr. Sholmes slipped the money into his own pocket, does it? No. We could ask Gina to retrieve it for us, using her special skills. Pickpocketing police officers and diddling detectives. Is this what makes Britain great? No, it's because of the island. The island's called Great Britain. Anyway, not to mention demigod prosecutors taking the law into their own hands or chip-loving inspectors. Inspector Gregson comes off rather well in that list, I think. "23rd of October. Madame Tuspel's special exhibit." Here we go. His head's off. Oh dear. I felt a shiver run down my spine as soon as we walked in here. Miss Susato. The owl in the back. I say we turn our heels and go straight home via a really big confectionery. We certainly can't do that. We've paid 5 shillings already. True. Actually, now I'm looking a little more closely. We've paid good money to see an exhibit that's clearly incomplete. The nerve of that great diddling detective is far more terrifying than anything else in this place. This must be what Mr. Sholmes was meant when he said the case was largely solved. Be that as it may, Mr. Sholmes heavily implied there'd be a clue about the engineer in here, didn't he? Yeah, the thing on the left, the one with the monocle. But where? Since we paid 5 shillings, let's do 5 shillings worth of investigating, shall we? Yes, we'll get what we paid for. Is that fear or frustration that's making Susato-san's voice tremble? It is like, just straight away like here, like you've got a monocle, haven't you? This part of the exhibit is just as disturbing as the rest. It looks so real. Seems to be a young man in a white overcoat. And he has a large shovel in his hand too, look. That's a spade. Perhaps we should investigate it in a little more detail. It would move away, wouldn't it? Hello. Well, there's the plus signs again. Like we can see right there, like there's an eye and there's a monocle. So yep. So we got plus, minus, plus. Okay, so yeah, Dreb is gonna be the professor in some regard. What's this here? Now this would appear to be a lens in the middle, so I believe it's probably a camera. A camera? It's too small. British technology is incredible, isn't it? And what about Mr. Sholmes' skin print? I think perhaps you should treat Mr. Sholmes' inventions as exceptions to the rule. But anyway, why would the man be in a graveyard at night with a camera? I wonder. Perhaps he was trying to capture the moment a dead body came back as a ghost on film? We'll just borrow this for a little while, I think. Camera has been entered into the court record. By looking at the photographic plate inside the camera, we can see what picture was taken. What's a photographic plate? It's a piece of glass coated in a special emulsion that reacts to the light coming in through the lens. If we open the cover at the back of the camera, we should find it. Let's have a look. You should see yourself, Suzuto-san. Your eyes are shining. You really do like machinery, don't you? Right, can we check the back of the camera from here, or do we have to do a bit of investigating on the thing? The lantern, I suppose? That's quite a large lamp the man's carrying. Or is it a lantern? It's not unlike a Japanese chochin paper lantern, actually, is it? Lamp, lantern, chochin, or chokchin. The point is, it casts very little light. To be walking alone in the graveyard at night with only this. I certainly couldn't do it. I'm not sure I could visit a graveyard at all, even in broad daylight, to be honest. Really? You're that scared of that? Are we really not going to inspect the face? Can't see his face very well, can you? Perhaps if I just... Oh, do you think you should be manhandling the exhibits, Mr. Naruhodo? I'll put it back exactly as it was, don't worry. Here we go. What on earth? How can... I don't believe it. A black monocle. Mr. Naruhodo, is it possible that this man is... Yes. It's Enoch Drebber. The colour of his hair is a bit different, but it's unmistakably him. Indeed it is. Mr. Sholmes, this man is the subject of your present hunt, I believe. Yes, that's right. Just who is this man? Why is he here in this exhibit? And why does the convict behind him have no head? The head was used in everything else going on. The head was missing when the model was returned by the thief who stole it. What a surprise. So then the case isn't solved yet, is it? Did I not say so myself? Largely solved? Were the words, I believe? But I must locate the missing head. Tout de suite, as Madame would say, or I'll be in grave trouble. A very hungry Iris still awaits my return to Baker Street. Preferably with rations. Do you know, though, something about this room is strange. Strange? What do you mean? Well, the display in the House of Horrors are supposed to depict real events, are they not? Indeed they are, Miss Suzuto. Do go on. And as terrifying as they are, the scenes in the other exhibits are believable. But this one... This surely couldn't ever really have happened, could it? I think it's time I educate you a little about the nature of the incidents involving the professor 10 years ago. Please do. I still want to examine a few things here. This must be the killer. The fiend known as the Professor. Yes, I think so. According to what Madame Tuspel said. He killed 5 victims, all of noble or royal blood. The waxwork is so lifelike, isn't it? Like all the models in this place. I know. Looks like it could start moving at any moment, doesn't it? If only it had a head, that is. Perhaps we should examine it in a little more detail. Oh, can we? It's just the head from the looks of it, okay. So this is the condemned man. Yes, the so-called professor. Then perhaps his head was chopped off by a guillotine. But unable to find peace, he emerged from his grave as a headless ghost. Do we have to entertain such terrifying ideas, Miss Susato? Anyway, I'm sure the model had a head once. There's a metal fitting for it, see? Then perhaps Mr. Sholmes absently-minded forgot to reattach it. That's an extremely absent-minded detective you're describing, isn't it? Or perhaps the thief absent-mindedly forgot to include the head, and he or she returned it to the museum. And that would be an extremely absent-minded thief. Could there have been some reason why only the head wasn't returned? Or whatever the reason. It means we don't know what the face of the infamous professor looked like, do we? Oh. There's something caught just inside the convict's jacket here. It looks like a piece of broken glass. And quite a big piece, too. It's very thick, isn't it? About 5 times thicker than normal window glazing, I'd say. Almost like it's crystal. You know, like from a crystal tower of some sort. Where could such a thick piece of glass have come from, I wonder? I suppose it must have been made thick to increase its strength? But why? Well, perhaps because the glass had to span a particularly wide area? Such as in a building, for example. Well, we've seen large glass buildings recently, haven't we? And some of the glass was broken too. You don't mean... Exactly. The Crystal Tower at the Great Exhibition. But why would glass from the Crystal Tower be lodged inside the waxwork's jacket? Makes you think, doesn't it? Piece of broken glass has been entered into the court record. So yeah, it's a good job we actually investigated that. Earlier in court, we established that the kinesis experiment was a trick. Now we discover this fragment of glass here in this waxwork? Is it just a coincidence? No. Clearly it's not. Let's have a look at that piece of glass then. This piece of glass is almost as thick as it is wide. Yes, I've never seen anything like it. If you were to compare it to a human, only Mr. Sholmes has such thick skin. There's really no need for such a comparison, Mr. Naruhodo, as you well know. Anyway, it can only be from the Crystal Tower, surely. Yes, I think so too. It's probably made especially to meet the demands of that great structure. Yes. Curiouser and curiouser! Also, we did say about investigating the back here. Oh look, the cover came open. Yes, now there should be a glass plate inside. You have to change the plate with each new photograph you want to take, you see. Is something wrong? There is no plate. It's been removed. Alright then. What a pity, but I suppose if you think about it, this wouldn't be the actual camera that was used at the time, just like the waxwork isn't the actual person. So we never have found a photographic print of the executed convict coming back to life anyway. Oh, yes, you're quite right, of course. Poor Susato-san. She looks devastated. It's gotta be relevant somehow, though. Otherwise, why the hell would we have it? What a wonderful machine. You really love contraptions like this, don't you? mean, there's a blood splatter on the side. Are we looking at this? Oh yes, anything mechanical I find absolutely irresistible. Almost irresistible, surely? Well, whenever I see a pocket watch, for example, can't help myself. I simply have to take it apart. That's worrying. Yes, Father tells the time by the rumblings of his stomach now. He's given up having a watch. Poor Professor Mikataba. Like that, there's a bloodstain right there. Look, Mr. Naruhodo. What is it? On the bellows, just here. Seems to be some very dark red stains. Yes, you're right. Looks like blood, actually. Oh. Oh my. I'm sure it's not what you're thinking. Yeah. Alright. That's interesting. And that's it for now, then. Righto. Let's see about speaking to Mr. Schlurp. Let's see about the owl. No? Nothing else. We've done you. Alright. Sholmes. The resurrecting convict. I believe I told you a little about the professor yesterday, did I not? He took the lives of 5 victims, every one being either a member of the aristocracy or royalty. All were attacked by an enormous hunting hound, had their throats ripped from their bodies. Oh gosh, an enormous hound. How awful. After taking the life of his 5th victim, the killer was apprehended. It was a case of unprecedented magnitude in Britain. You understand? Accordingly, the professor was tried in a closed court. No members of the public were permitted. Closed court? So you mean the professor's identity? As you've surmised, my dear fellow, his identity was never made public. Naturally, he was found guilty and was summarily sentenced to death by hanging. He was buried in a grave at Lowgate Cemetery, which adjoins the rear of the prison where he had been held. However, that was not the end of the affair. Oh. The very night that he was buried, the convicted man came back to life. Came back to life? He clawed his way out of the ground and emerged into the moonlight graveyard. The exhibit here depicts that very scene as described by the sole witness to those chilling events. There was a witness? But of course, my dear fellow, it was none other than the young man in the white overcoat. Enoch Drebber. He saw it happen. Alright, the young witness. So this is a waxwork model of Enoch Drebber. 10 years ago, the convicted professor, having been gibbeted and buried, emerged from his grave in the dead of night. The sole witness to that unimaginable scene was this young man. From appearances, I would say he was about 20 years old. It's so horrifying. Scared out of his wits, the young Drebber ran to a nearby police station to report the incident. And the sheer terror of what he'd seen is said to have turned his hair white overnight. Yes, as shown in the photograph we have of him, his hair is completely white. For the following few days, the story of what he'd seen was on every front page in the capital. The public was frantic for every last detail about the killer who'd come back to life. As you've seen, an exhibit was even created here at Madame Tuspel's. I can quite understand why the man's hair turned white, certainly. But what I don't understand is what Mr. Drebber was doing in the first place, in a lonely graveyard in the middle of the night. Probably just grave looting. It's probably grave looting, yeah. Yes, what was he up to? Yep, following the executionist grave robbing. The professor acts of terror threw London's upper classes into complete panic 10 years ago. It was a great scandal, one might say, at the very highest levels of society. And since the killer's identity was never made public, rumors abounded. After all, no killer had ever before systematically employed a dog as a weapon of murder. Yes, I can imagine the impact the case must have had. But in time, of course, the rumors abated. So too to talk of the shocking witnesses' account of the convict who came back to life. It was forgotten, dismissed as a dubious ghost story, as a preposterous parlor tale. But why did people stop believing it? Why? Simply because there was no resurrection to speak of, as was established in fact. What do you mean by no resurrection? The police investigated the grave in Lowgate Cemetery and published their findings. The convict's body was found to be buried exactly where it had been following the execution. No. But that would mean Mr. Drebber must have lied to the police and the newspapers. That would appear to be the only logical explanation, yes. The young man subsequently vanished from society, and nothing has been heard from him since. It's rather striking, then, that he should resurface now, don't you think? Of course, the convicted murderer couldn't really have come back to life. That's not possible. But Drebber's hair is unusually white. If that really did happen overnight as a result of shock, it's hard to believe the incident was an out-and-out lie. Oh, hello. What the bleeding Norodo? What are you gonna done? Gina, what are you doing here? I asked Iris, and she said this is where you'd be, so... What the... Gina, not so loud in the museum. Madame Tussbells will have you take a position as a waxwork if you're not careful. There might be a more pressing concern. I still had some flash powder left from 6 months ago, so... Don't waste it. Alright, Gina, we understand, but please, put down the gun. Sorry, I got scared. Should try being the one on the other end of the barrel. So, what brings you here, Gina? What brings me here? What do you think? We found it! We found that dodgy Co's workshop. What? You found Drebber's workshop? Good doggy. Yep, Toby's nose took me straight there. The boss and the others are heading over there now in a drag. So come on. Here's the address. Got the boss to write it down. Oh, thank you, Gina. We'll make our way there at once. Alright then, see you there. Let's go. Let's go. Oh dear. You go. Don't mind me. I'll just stay here, being still. What? His eyes. I know my place. In the exhibit over there. Oh dear. Someone is feeling sorry for himself. Let's go, Mr. Sholmes. You're coming. Your words hearten me, I must say. But if I were to shirk my duties here, Madame would have me pay monetary recompense at Iris's dinner plate. Forget that. I'll pay for everything. Then there's not a moment to lose, my dear fellow. I shall hail a carriage at once. No offer to share the cost from Mr. Sholmes, then. I shall gladly pay half, Mr. Naruhodo. Thank you, Miss Scissortone. Right, let's go. Dear, oh dear. Ooh. So like an test version, beta version, alpha version. 23rd of October, Enoch Drebber's workshop. That looks like... Oh, it's another super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine. Indeed, it would appear so. Though only a prototype, naturally. Aye, so you got here then? Spotted several things around I want to look at now. There's a tank train over there. Looks freaking awesome. Gino, well done for finding this place. And in such little time, you've really worked miracles. It's Toby here who's the miracle worker. Woof. I thought you lot would show up before long. Speaking eyes. Hello, Inspector. That's one knitted brow. Looks like he's eating a lemon, not a bag of fish and chips. So, Inspector, is there any sign of the engineer? Sadly not. We didn't find a soul in here. Oh, what a shame. Well, thank you for letting us know about this place and giving us the chance to investigate. According to what Gina tells me, you only found it thanks to a clue that you lot turned up. I wouldn't want to say you go to Paris with a debt of gratitude unpaid now, would I? Thank you. Anyway, if you're open to snoop around here, I'd get cracking. Lord Van Zykes and the forensic investigation team are on their way here as we speak. Them again. I imagine you've got the picture by now. And they don't take too kindly to lawyer types. Right. So then, my dear fellow, let us turn this place upside down whilst we have the chance. And you, Sholmes. Pardon. They take even less kindly to great detectives than they do to lawyers. Very droll, Gixon, very droll. But you may consider me nothing more than an inconspicuous waxwork model. Right then, let's see what we can find in here. Right, immediately, let's check out the ladder. I'm sorry, Mr. Naruhodo. That machine is covered by the Special Dispensation of Scientific Equipment Act. No, the ladder. There would be serious repercussions if you were to examine it from the Crown and the government. Yep, they're checking it out anyway. Well, those two don't seem to be holding back. It's quite hollow inside. No working parts or devices of deception to be seen, my dear fellow. No loose change dropped on the floor or nothing. Not even a bone for Toby here, my dear fella. Woof. British people are very shrewd by their own ideals, aren't they? I think that's just these two, Miss Susato. So nothing with the ladder, that was the machine, okay. Ah! This appears to be most interesting. Yes, most interesting indeed, wouldn't you say? It's an impressive looking back massager, that's for sure. I have no doubt that if you hit your shoulders a few times with that, your aches and pains would soon go away. It's a Royal Society trophy for excellence in science. A young scientist could wish for no higher honor. Ah. Would you like a massage? No, I'm fine, thank you. I had no idea it was such a grand thing. I think it's becoming increasingly clear that there's much more to this Mr. Enoch Drebber than conjuring tricks. I couldn't agree more, my dear madam. And how about you, Mr. Naruhodo? Would you like to take it with you? For your tired shoulders, of course. He's not going to let that go, is he? It's curious, though, isn't it? You would expect such an important trophy to be proudly on display somewhere, not haphazardly cast aside. English gentlemen can be quite a mystery at times. Science trophy has been entered into the court record. Alright. Look at this tank train. It's awesome. What on earth is this? An aeroplane, Mr. Naruhodo. One day scientists believe it will allow humans to fly freely in the skies. Nonsense, I can't see this happening. Balloons are the future. Is that how the trick would be described, is it? Sorry? Well, it's actually suspended by a thin but very strong cable, isn't it? Oh, well, this model is, yes, but a real aeroplane would actually fly high in the sky. Well, suspended from somewhere even higher in the sky, of course. Because large metal objects obviously can't really stay in the mid-air unsupported. So to you the solution is ever taller towers? Yeah, not a great solution, mate, not a great solution. Well, they're arrows, obviously. This is... It's a European-style quiver of arrows with steel bolts inside. Oh, do you suppose... Crossbow bolts, these? Yep. They're just the right size for the bow you lot turned up at the exhibiting grounds. In other words... Yep, that's more evidence to support your theory. It goes to show that Drebber was the one pulling the strings behind the scenes of the old scam. Details of the crossbow have been updated in the court record, alright? Anything else? What is that? This door doesn't want to open. Yeah, it looks like it's got a pretty hefty lock on it. There's a specialist locksmith on his way over from the yard, so hands off till he gets here. With permission, Inspector, I could have the lock open in less than a minute. Well, you don't have permission, and no one's given it you. Gregson looked as though he really enjoyed that. Well, there's no sound of anybody on the other side. No, Trevor must have fled on the first sign of danger. What the? Oh. Is something wrong, Miss Isidore? Well, I thought I heard a noise from the far side of that door. Well, Gina, did you hear it too? Yeah, I heard it and all. What do you reckon, Toby? Oh dear. Right, mind the grease. Whoever's in there, open up. This is Scotland Yard. Oh my, someone is in there. Oh, this rotten bleeding lock. My dear Gregson, as I said only minutes ago, if only it were countenanced, I could unlock the door in less than a minute. Get bleeding to it then. Fine, I'll take the rap for it. Just get us through that blasted door. Click. There, you may enter at will. You confuse minutes with seconds, I think. Time is of the essence, I feel. What are we waiting for? Nothing for it, I suppose. This is an emergency. There's a strong possibility that beyond that door is the engineer you all seek. Be prepared for action, my dear fellow. Yes,